All right, and welcome back to another interesting installment of Minetest gameplay of sorts. Yes, and this is take number 6 because of a Windows update and an AMD driver update. OBS is shattered and broken and lying naked on the floor. Natalie Imbruglia. So we're going to get right into it. From submissions to the website. An Asian builder sent in, and that's his name. I didn't just say that. A tiny suburban house. Very cool. Very cool. And Malcalypse is sent in Peter Gatsby's artistic interpretation of Hogwarts School on Vanessa E's Bananaland server. Very nice. It's a pretty good representation of it. It doesn't have the diagonal like bridges and stuff like that. And there are some things missing, but it definitely captures the feeling of Hogwarts. And if not anything else, just a cool place to play. So I really like the spires and all the buildings. But this next one is also Peter Gatsby's village. This dude's busy. He's a busy builder. And that looks awesome. I like the density and the layout of the villages and the houses and the buildings. It is a very cool, quaint little village. It looks like it's surrounded almost completely with water, a little land bridge over here. All medieval style. Look at those windows. So it's a medieval modern style. Yeah. So that's what we have on here. And you too can add your screenshot and submission by going to my website and submitting a photo. There's also, and a bunch of people, I have a contact email now, richardjeffreyshow@gmail.com. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that is there, and that is that. So let's get into this week's episode. And these driver issues that are plaguing me are just, they're unreal. So we will go into the game as soon as there we are. And somebody that found my email address sent in about realism, wanting to build a city and using realistic city blocks. So he had figured out, and by the way, if you submit an email and you don't put that you want to be known as or by a certain thing, it is assumed that you want your name private. And that's how I will treat that until otherwise noticed. And last time I recorded this, I had like 6 or 7 deer, horses, and bears all jumping in unison. I just got one. He's jumping. Yay. It doesn't work like it did last time. The joke is blown. So in the efforts of realism, you can see that I try to make something plausible. And these are 12-foot high ceilings. If you look at that, each node is 3 feet or 1 yard, almost a meter. So you have 3, 6, 9, 12. Yes, I can count. So there. But, you stand here and you look, and let's turn on, first we disable fog. For whatever reason, the Windows version, and I hit the wrong key. Again, there I am. I'm standing in front of the wall. As you can see, I'm 6 foot because the average character is about 2 nodes. And then above me is 2 more nodes. So realistically speaking, you could, usually in America, modern house is usually 9-foot ceilings. But you can see because of the way the node, we can't have half nodes. And if I put a node here, it would kind of it would lower the ceiling. It would still look realistic, but then you couldn't do huge picture windows and stuff like there. It's just, it's how you view, the perspective. So we are going to check on another thing before I show you some cool tips on retexturing somebody's node. And I'm going to use, this is one example. This is the computer deco mod. And as you can see, this obviously there are pictures in there that are not from the mod. These are my own. This is my own wallpaper that I created way back in the day. And an interesting story about this one is, so look at that fishy. He's looking at you going like, what's up? Are you serious? And years ago, I was watching a Discovery special on the Mayan Calendar, and I had that wallpaper on my Mac that I was using at the time. And so as a joke, I put down, because this was back in 2009, in September of 2012 was supposed to be the end of the world as we know it. According to the Mayan Calendar and Discovery Channel and Ancient Aliens. So I, just as a joke, I created a calendar entry for it. And then I forgot about it. And 3 years later, in 2012, lo and behold, it popped up. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world, because on that day, the world was supposed to end. And for you conspiracy theorists out there, it wasn't that the world was going to come to an end. It was that the world as we know it was coming to an end. And a lot of things during that time changed. So there. Now, in the thing about realism, and a lot has to do with perspective. So from this corner block here of this building all the way down, I think this is like 40 nodes, and this one is similar. These buildings look, in my eyes, maybe not to your eyes, these buildings look like in perspective of what a real high-rise building would look like, or a condominium, or even this one would have normally large apartments. To the traffic light, so from that cornerstone of the condo to the traffic light is 167 nodes. Now, a city block, the person had, I believe there's 10 city blocks in a mile. So the person had taken or calculated 104 nodes squared would be a city block, realistic city block. But if you look at the perspective of it, it might not fit. And that's why I'm not defining any kind of city block grid. I'm just, as I go along, whatever looks good to my perspective over versus realism, it's going to stay. So on the second question, the person asked about, well, you mentioned that you wanted to change the color of the node. Yes, I did. So as you see here, these doors are C doors. Now, one of the main things about C doors is that first of all, it's a very cool mod. The second, the C doors does not come with those shade of white stained glass. What it does come with is this, and based on your default textures, these textures of these glass doors are Vanessa E's HDX 128 pixel doors. These are what this Too Many Nodes had intended for these doors that are in the middle of the nodes, thus C doors. I needed white stained glass to go with the Alpane's white stained glass. So I took the texture that he had in his mod, brought it into GIMP, the GNU image manipulation program, and I changed it to a see-through white frost. And I poorly did it, as you can see. But it gives the intended purpose on there. The drawback, whenever you modify somebody's mod or fork it or whatever, always make a copy of the original in case something goes horribly wrong and you have to go back to it. So what I'm about to show about, the person said, well, how did you recolor the node? You said you wanted to recolor a node. When I put in the updated version of CDORS to work with the Misicon pressure plates, those textures went away and my code that I injected went away. So I had unknown blocks here and it looked hideous. I had to revert back until I can, nice Ferrari, until I have to go back and add my little couple lines of code in, which will incorporate my changes into there. This garage door is my doors, and the original developer used snow blocks as the texture. I changed it, and I'm going to show that in a second. But imagine these doors. We're going to go to my mod now, our block. Imagine those doors, and you sit there and you say, well, I don't want to use that wood, or I don't want to use that texture. Look at that texture. This is one of my favorite ones I use for wood and tables and stuff like that. Imagine that texture on that. I am going to do that because you can basically have a mod that generates different textures. I have the original Mom and Pops mod that I use in the modern world because I need these cabinets. And in the other world, the medieval world, I'm using their latest one. But you can see here there's 12 different colored chairs. And so he has it looping to different materials. So I can add materials to that. And guess what? I did. A long time ago, I took his chair, and this is a beauty thing about Minetest and open source, is that I took his chair object and there we go, and redid it. So there's mine. There's my version of it. You can see it's not mine because he's got the collision box perfect on his. There's the Mom and Pop's furniture, and there's mine using his object, but with my graphic. And then here's one that I created on Blender. This is called How to Fail at Blender. You Suck at Blender, which I'm going to create that channel because there's a very cool, if you like cooking and comedy, there's You Suck at Cooking, which is an awesome channel. I mean, really cool. Being chased by a lime mom. Very nice. And to get that reference, you have to go to that channel. And there was also a famous comedian, Dan Cook, did You Suck at Photoshop, which is, oh wow, that was in the day. That was a couple of years ago before, and nobody knew that it was Dane Cook doing it, but it was an awesome channel on how to do Photoshop and why you're so bad at it. So this is what I came up with in Blender, and you can see I had a little foot rest that pops out, and there was a reason why I had done the chair this way, and that was because of the table. I wanted the table to be away from the chair and have a little gap, and it did it. This doesn't look bad, but it looks like the chair is sitting on the table. So that's what, and as soon as I get done perfecting it, I'm going to obviously see if, Mom and Pop can use those graphics that I created. I got these off of opengameart.org and other openclipart.org is where that piranha came from. And I believe this wood came from also. In my mod, I have a credits file of everywhere I got my textures from. They were either Creative Commons or public domain. Another dancing horse. There we go. So on here, I updated my sign. Check that out. As there's a lag spike because of all the blocks. So we have gas. We have car wash. There's my sign for my convenience store and that gas pumps. And over here, we also have my original sign. I just can't get rid of it yet because it's so cool. Yeah. And plus it says Minetest and that I am cool. And I am. In my mind. So back over here to why I originally brought y'all out here. Just look at that. These shelves were originally, close the door. These shelves were originally default wood color. And this is the reference that I made about I wanted to change the color. Now they're white. And they still work. They still do everything that they're supposed to do. And that is because on here, I'm going to go to the display, close this. There we go. Not close it, but minimize it. And this is, look at that, 67 degrees in Chicago right now. Yes, it is. So here is the mod from the default note for item shelf mod. Oh, this is just the description. By Zorman 2000. He is the creator, or she, whoever, is the creator of that item shelf mod that you just saw. In there, we have the node definitions for it. And you keep scrolling down and you see item shelf.register_shelf. And then what it is, small shelf. And then the description, shelf with the 4 item ones. And then you see textures. This right here, very important, because this person used the default wood texture. I liked it, but it didn't fit into my modern little style here. So being that Minetest is open source and 99.9% of the mods are open source and you can do whatever you want with them, I went in there and I replaced every instance of default wood with baked_clay_white, which is one of the textures in the texture pack or in the baked clay mod. Or any texture that you create, you can put it in there. And I can think of some really cool ideas on making steel shelves. I'm also looking at how to whittle down the thickness of that. But that's another story. So how this goes, you see that there's 6 listings here for that. And that's each side of the node, each side of the block. So there's 6, think of a die from a pair of dice, or Andrew Dice Clay. And there's 6 sides to every node. So how this is listed here in the mod and how this goes by is the first one is the top, then the bottom, then the right side, left side, and then back side and front. So you have top, bottom, right, left, and back, front. So you can create a cube of any graphics that you want on there. And I do that. So I replace that every instance. Now that was for this style of how to change it. And it worked. You saw how that worked. If we go into my mod, you notice that there's a block called Drywall Blue Gray 2, because this is where I do all my testing. It's a drywall blue gray block 1. That makes a lot of sense. Programmers love when you purposely mislead. Yeah, just do that next time you go to work. Do that. So we have here tiles. Now the tiles are, and you can color a block by using a color, a hex color, or RGB color. Yeah, and or a texture tile. My textures are all either 64-bit, 128 pixel, 64 pixel, 128 pixel, and then the regular default game is 16 pixels, I believe. So if I go into my world here, world modern modern RGS, world mods, and I come down here to my mod, because my mod is the very basic, and everything I learned here I got inspiration from, and the general knowledge from Nathan over at Minetest videos, and then I expanded on it. So the best way to do it, here's my credits file of everywhere I got my graphics from. Here's my textures. So there's white baked clay, and I also have these textures in my texture pack, so it always defaults back to that one. This is a 128 pixel texture. These are 16 by 16. So you can see the difference. And these are what the game uses to show. I could have made those shelves this great, and that probably would have looked pretty cool. I'm going to have to experiment with that. What you may run into is, you see here, flower pot 256 PGN. This is a baked image from Blender, and this is one of my flower pots. So if you run into that, it's kind of harder to, unless you have the original, you can take the original object and reverse engineer it back in Blender and then create your own. If you're good at Blender, creating your own baked textures, you could redo that. But that's a little bit more intense. And what I mean by that is, if we go into my models, these are my poorly done, models of when I was doing Blender. Yeah, I have to get back into Blender. I've kind of forgotten everything, but you can see here, here's a chair object in there. Where did it go? Oh, in here. I was trying to do something with that. That's not my chair. Where is my, where are my flower pots? There's my flower pots. So let's open this up with 3D viewer. There it is. Look at that. That's without the graphic on it. So that's what I created. There's a square flower pot with base. And then that baked texture is what uses then that baked texture is what is used to color it in. There, vase. I think I have a couple other ones too. And I generated a lot of this stuff. These tiles here that I use for bathrooms, those were all generated in GIMP, and using a square grid and then a color generator, so the color would change, and it just made that. And I said, hey, I like that. So we are going to get out of here, but when you go back in, you can go into anybody's mod and look. Like, I have changed things in the billboards mod. All the textures in there. I have, there they are. These are my textures, and added them into the mod to create my pictures of all my pictures. And there's another billboard or a picture mod that I use, Germaldi, which I've also added in different things. I've changed things in the computer deco mod. I've added my screens in there. And basically all what you do is you copy what they have. So the textures, like, here's all their textures for their screens. And I just mimicked it. So this one is 779 by 480. And I created a new picture with that on there. Oh, I used the red one. So I created my screen and put the picture in my texture pack, labeled Computer Deco red screen, so it picks it up. And there's a lot of different ways that you can go about doing it. So it's just that you have to remember when you are changing anything dealing with it, a mod, that you always make copies of it. So you take a lot of notes that you always know what you did. You done, did, done. Do it. But they look pretty cool. But now I really want to see what it looks like to have that grate. See, this area, this is really thick. But I'd like to make it that thick. That would be cool. But you see, that's where you take the inspiration from, and you take that person's work and you expand on it. And then if it's something really cool, you share it back. Yeah. And go from there. So one of the other things about the blocks is that if I go back into my mod here, there's a blue-gray one that I referenced in the video. So this is what that looks like. So it has the blue-gray here, which could be used as carpet, or you can change this to make a wall color like you saw. So all the other walls will be white except for this one. And what that does is so you don't have to use a double wall. So if this block is all blue and you want the room to be white, you'd have to use a double block. Or you could just do something like I did there. As you see, these walls carry all the way through. So the bathroom is the same wall colors as the outer office. So you have that. The other, yeah, I covered all those ways. Cool. So we covered realism. We covered the basic changing of a node, which works out pretty cool. I already showed the table. I showed the door over here that I also changed the color on. I really do want to get that color of the red wood table on there. So some questions that were submitted. I had a person, that's my iPad, because I have everything on the iPad here. Go to comments. There's a Russian, what did I just do? Oh, well, Symbicon first said about the, one of my videos before I started using bags. He said, you could use bags on there. So I have unified inventory, and here's the bags mod. So there's a bag in there. And I could take a small bag. There's small, medium, and large bags. And you can see I have stuff in that bag. Unfortunately, you can't take the bag out once it's in there. So if I go back and then go back in, I can't take the bag out. Come on. You can't. Yeah. Will you move? No. But I can, if the bag has nothing in it, you can take the bag out. And I thought that you could take the bag out with the stuff in it, similar to a chest. Now, we do have in Minetest, there is one of the mods, I think it's Technics, or there's a mod where there is a wrench that allows you to pick up a full chest. So you could put a chest down, sort of like a shulker box in Minecraft, load it up, and then you could grab that chest and put it in your inventory. So we do have something similar like that. But yes, I do know about the bags. I'm in creative mode, so I kind of hardly have no need for them because I use every available thing to do that. The other thing was a question: if you put ice and snow in a pool of water, would the penguin go to it? The penguin will normally find. That's a cool penguin, man. Yes, you are. You feed it fish. See, he's gone. He's looking. They're gone. Bye. They don't want to be. I can tame them by feeding it fish. I don't know if I have any fish. Yes, I do. Oh, he's sliding away. He's got full health. Come on. The hearts don't work on him. But if you well, he's taking it because, yeah, he likes me. He really, really likes me. Okay, go play. So that will, that better not be my penguin that turned into food there. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. My train derailed. There was a Russian commenter, and I cannot. Oh, he's making friends with the horse. I am very sorry. I cannot pronounce your name, but you said it is not Minecraft, but in the description it is a Minecraft. So you have to think of that with a heavy Russian accent, and I'm not making fun of it. Russian accents are way cool. So are Greek, British, Japanese accents. All those accents, whenever they're done in American, you just get that Dolph Lundgren, kind of, I must break you. You get that. And I follow Life of Boris and a couple other YouTubers in Russia that I cannot say their name because they're not work safe friendly in the title, but they are cool. And yeah, so on there, what he was referring to, I'm assuming it's he or she is referring to, is that when you go into the video description, it's not in the description, but when a person uploads a video to Minecraft, you have these different screens, and there's an advanced screen where you put the recording date and you put in the game category or the category of what that video is, whether it's a blog, whether it's a game, and then you can pick the game so that when somebody goes into YouTube gaming or like that, and you could search by that game. Well, for a while there, a couple of years, or last year and a year before, there was a little glitch where every time that you chose Minetest, it would automatically default it to Minecraft because it didn't recognize Minetest. And then all of a sudden it started working again. So there was a bunch of videos that did not have any gaming category. They were just listed under gaming. And yeah, they were blank. And YouTube actually defaulted it because it thought it was Minecraft and put it in there. So when I said, no, it's not in the description, because I thought he was talking about the description. He said, he sent a screenshot. He goes, no, it is there. And I'm still trying the accent for whatever reason. There, see, the penguin found the water. And I'm not I'm not making fun of it. I do find accents. I love listening to other foreign accents, especially British. That's my favorite. So I'm not making fun. He didn't want to go in the sauna. He walked through the wall. He's a possessed penguin. He walked through the glass. Where are you going? You going in the water? Yeah. So there is that. I fixed it because I went back in and I fixed it. So there. I don't know if this person is a regular Minetest follower, but here's the one thing. Anything that I build here, like this modern house here, which was one of my earliest ones, if you can find inspiration on it and you want to build it in Minecraft, please do. It's flattering. I use Corrales, Mythical Sausage, Andy is Yoda, Grain, Mr. Crayfish. I watch a lot of Minecraft builders, and I take inspiration from them, and I use their techniques and stuff and build them in my world. That's called sharing and being inspired. And my take on somebody else's house, if I do a copy of their house like that. See, he just went in the water. Very cool. So there's that. We already talked about that. Gyro said, oh, wow, you have a deep voice. If you put some relaxing background music and speak a bit quieter, you'd kill it. It's an ASMR channel. How's this? I am seriously looking into starting an ASMR channel. This is the only remaining thing I have after my horrible haircut yesterday is my voice. I like my voice. People like my voice. Apparently some do. And unless you really have where my voice is like nails on a chalkboard, well, don't know what to tell you. Yeah. So that's it. And what is the name of your texture pack? The texture packs that I use are a combination of Vanessa E's 128 pixel and 64 pixel HDX texture pack mixed in with certain ones from Polyguyana, mixed in with default and some of my own textures that I've created over the time, and that's how I roll. And basically, it's personal preference. Wow, there's a lot of lags over here in this farm area. It's personal preference. This wood, this acacia wood, is actually from Polyguyana, and so is the other woods on the doors and stuff like that. A lot of the other stuff is default. The rocks, the ground is default. That's my custom texture, the brick. This looks really cool. The door without using the snow caps. So I mix and match. I personalize the game and make it exactly the way that I want it. And that's how everybody should be treating the game. If you are content with, hey, the traffic light still works. If you are content with the default textures, then go for it. But I like customization ability, and look at that deep wood. So that's going to do it. We are out here at my little summer home overlooking the bay. You go from there. I've already gone way over and rambled. So thank you very much for joining. Next video is going to be, we're going to be back out at the medieval world. I'm going to show my blacksmith cave and other caves. Symbicon had said about making an armory and more barracks and stuff like that. Well, I did that. So I will be showing that and working on that and all the tunnels, the back tunnel, secret tunnels of the castle. So thank you very much for joining. Everybody have a cool week. Until next video. Goodbye.